Welcome to Venture with Joe and Cody, where we take a deep dive into the minds of leaders and innovators making a real impact today. I'm Joe.
And I'm Cody. And we're here to bring you the raw stories, the successes, and the setbacks that these trailblazers have experienced in their journey to where they are today.
Every week, we sit down with a new guest who's ready to share their insight and advice on business, entrepreneurship, and making a difference in their community. From local community members to industry experts, you're going to get the unfiltered truth behind their success.
So whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned professional, or just curious about the business world, join us for a journey of learning and inspiration.
So let's grab a drink, settle in, and let's get started. This is Venture with Joe and Cody. Hey guys, we're back with another episode of Venture with Joe and Cody. I'm going to switch it up. Cody Wilhelm with Residential Mortgage. I'm Joe Skipper with Skipper Realty Group with eXp Realty. I normally say my name first, but I feel so selfish. And in this season of giving of Christmas, I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you the
That's
first
my gift,
intro.
And I love it.
You're
thankful.
Welcome. You're welcome. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about, and maybe for the next couple weeks, we'll probably take a break during the holiday season of our podcast, but maybe in the next couple weeks, let's talk about 2026, like what we're doing for that, what we're planning, what we'd like to plan, what we screw up this year, and what we'd like to not screw up next year. You hear so many podcasts, like people talk about how good they are, and how everything was perfect. And it's like, I'd enjoy when you and I just get to say how much we suck. And that sounds weird, but it's like, I think it resonates with people a little bit better when you're like,
yes,
hey, we're normal people like everyone else. And so
it's a struggle.
Anyways, first thing I did it. We talked a little bit on our live. I have a fly in my office and I'm just like, it's a big one and it's flying around and distracting me. But anyways, tell me if it lands on me.
I will.
It did land on me.
I'll tell you after it flies away.
I think, okay, so if anyone has advice, I am thinking, we talked on the live last week, is like this background. Do I keep it? Do I make it dark like Cody? Do I just change the decorations? I need a newer picture of the kids. Like that's them like 2-3 years ago. So hopefully for Christmas, I get a new picture of the kids. But just that's my first thing that I want to kind of either stay in 2026 and leave my stuff as is, or change it up, new year, new me.
Yeah. I think it's kind of fun to change it up.
Yeah. So what's one thing? Yeah, no, I agree. Kind
of nice. Just to have something different. It's like gives you a whole new feel.
I think the contrast is nice, and I think it does attract a little bit, it makes people pay attention a little bit more than seeing my talking head. The same one, so it is a lot of work to get this stuff prepped, I think.
I know.
Maybe I think too much about it.
Well, and maybe you could just even paint the wall. Like if you just did a whatever color, just something different, but left everything else, it would probably pull very different.
That's true.
And then to feel like you changed a lot.
Well, if you have an opinion, comment or DM us wherever you are listening to this or whatever, comment, and don't be rude. Don't comment that I should stop.
Like anything's better than what you have.
Yeah, I'm not stopping recording. So just don't suggest that I just don't do that anymore.
Yeah, unplug your mic.
I know it's going to happen. Anyways, just I guess like what, let's start. If we're going to do this a couple of times, let's start with kind of 2025 and some of the things. Let's start with some of the things that you utilize in business or things that you've done that you're like, I'm going to keep that going because I think this has been working.
Great question. I start out each year with planning goals and everything. And a lot of it ends up being just consistency, which is where I tend to fall off as the year goes on. I will be consistent with some things and not with others. This year, I feel like I didn't quite do as good a job as I would like to do. Hope maybe next year will be that year. But being more consistent with working on like first time homebuyer class.
Yeah.
Working on marketing that, getting that out there, having the classes, doing the classes. It's a tough one, right?
We've been talking about that forever and we haven't done it.
Yeah, it's a tough one because it's hard to get out in front of everyone, but constantly creating the material for it and having the conversations where it's not just been something that's like fallen off my, hey, that's a fun idea, we should do that. And then it just kind of falls off the radar. Like, I've been able to kind of keep improving stuff like that, which is good because I feel like it's, as long as there's some form of consistency, then I feel like I can kind of build off of it. It's the ones where I just like I want to do something and then I start it for 2 days and then I stop and I, kind of let go. But first time homebuyer classes, that is something that's kind of constantly stayed on my radar and on my like working on the whole packet of information and making flyers. So it's not to where I'd like it to be, but that's definitely one from a kind of, trying to implement something new in there.
Yeah. Well, I think we've done a good job of this in the live stream.
We have. Yeah.
I think that we started I don't know when we started this. I'd have to look back.
A couple of years ago.
But we were inconsistent quite a bit, and I think this year have kind of made it a commitment to, record regularly, not blow it off. Obviously there's sicknesses or the different things we've got going on with actual work, so we can't do it every week. But we've been pretty good about consistency. Yeah. I've seen a lot of from that. On that note, is like, talking of consistency with anything you do, is we've seen a significant increase in clients coming from our social media because of the consistency. And it's weird, like the algorithms, I don't know if it's the algorithms or just kind of whatever. I don't necessarily focus on like, okay, what's the best producing content, which I can work on. But I have seen more and more people, especially towards the end of this year, seeing our social media and utilizing us for that. So I guess for things that we've done consistently together, this has been a positive, I think, for 2025.
Totally. And it's, I think other than being sick or, somebody's out of town, we haven't really had a whole lot of those like, hey, it's just kind of busy. If we do we push it to another day. But like we've done really well with this. And I don't want to pat your back too much here, but you've always stayed really consistent with your social media. And it's always been a motivator to me because, like you said, it's not even necessarily the content. It's just seeing it over and over and over, that when that time comes for that person, it's like, you know what? Joe was always doing this stuff. I'm going to reach out to him. Whether he's killing it or not, like it looks like he is consistently out there working. And I think that's a lot of it too, like just putting yourself out there, because it does get very easy to go, is this going to be information for anybody that's going to be useful, or sure, is this interesting enough or cool enough or whatever? And you second guess it. But I've always just appreciated the consistency because it's motivating to me, because I feel like that's one of my downfalls is just being consistent with the things that, you need to be.
Yeah. And I just recently had a client that found me on YouTube that said that I was happy to listen to you just provide information. It wasn't salesy. Oh, nice. It wasn't like, it just wasn't cheesy. It wasn't like, hey, I'm the guy. It was just like factual information. And that's what I've kind of gave me a little bit of confidence, saying what I do is good, because I don't like being that salesy kind of cheesy, sleazy guy. I like putting out content that might help people. And I know that sounds cheesy in and of itself, but it was kind of a confirmation that what I'm doing is good, because I think this person was like, I liked that I didn't feel like you're only doing this to get me as a client. So yeah. So I think
and I think you got to kind of go with what you feel like is best for you. Like, and who you I know are. We've talked about this. Yeah. We've talked about this before of like, I'd love to make some kind of more funny, cheesy stuff, but I also know that it might come across funny or more cheesy and like trying to get views. And I don't want that, but I do feel good and like secure, I guess you could say, in just putting out informative content, because that's not like a self-pleasing thing of like, I'm doing this all for me, for the attention, so that people like what I'm doing. It's like I'm putting this out there for people to be able to use and potentially ask more questions about, or have a better understanding. And that's,
you get the client that you get a client generally that you want to work with. I think when you can match, the more you can match your personality with what you do, whether that's flyers or whether that's, whatever, door knocking, whatever it is.
Yeah.
When you can match that personality, like, or do your personality, that's people that you want to work with get attracted to you.
Totally.
Versus like on your note of, if you're going to go out and be the influencer type agent, which is fine too, you may get, if you're not an influencer and you're not doing that out of natural
Yeah.
your natural ability, you may find that you get clients that you don't necessarily want to work with. So you may not be
Mm-hmm.
happy with what you're getting, in a client that was like, oh, I thought you were this.
Right.
And so there's just what I found is the kind of just being yourself. And there's always like insecurities of when you see the better agents and the better lenders and,
Oh, sure.
doing what you think is like, oh, that's super cool. Like I could
Yeah.
never do that. Or I have Sean, and they won't get mad at me for this, but Sean and Garth, like they're in my brokerage and super successful, work with high-end clients, like getting in and out of Porsche and Lamborghinis. Like that's them. And they're awesome at it, and they're really good. I was joking though with one of my friends. I was like, what if I just like had a video of me getting out of a Lamborghini? I was like, I would get so much from my friends, like that I couldn't ever live it down. Like
Right.
the public comments on it, just not even in a good way. It'd be like, what are you doing in that rented Lamborghini?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But those guys have them. They're awesome and they do good. But that's the client they work with. That's the client they attract, and that's who they get along with. And not to say I wouldn't love to work with those people, but it's just like going along those things of find what's naturally good for you. But yeah, can you imagine me stepping out of my McLaren?
I would love it. I need to see that.
No, see, I know everyone wants to see it, just so that they can all scroll through the comments of everything against me. But maybe I will do it sometime.
Joe's a fake.
Just for the humor of it, I will do that sometime. But yeah, I think consistency has been key this year for me and us, especially with the podcast and the live that we do every Wednesday or Thursday. That's been good. That's been a good time. I think like 2025, like I spent a lot of time and still need to, but spent a lot of time in AI and kind of figuring out how to streamline the back end work that we do so that I can be out meeting with clients and doing those sort of things. Because, when you do get into social media and you want to be consistent, or when you want to do podcasts, you've got to set aside time.
Yes.
What that means is it's time away from work, like time away from the work that you're going to go do to gain a client or a listing appointment or whatever.
Yeah.
With AI, I've been really getting better about what can I just give to AI. I like to do a lot of scripts for my videos and stuff. So AI has been a huge time saver for me of not only coming up with the content that I do, but also like, helping me with what to say, because I can kind of freeze a lot if I'm, by myself and just like, panic. I think you're better at that. You're good at like doing that. But I think AI for me has helped me with that kind of comfort to know what to speak of if I forget something. But
I do the same thing. I can't do the scripting as well. I've done it on some, and it's good because it does keep me on track for what I want to say. Whether I create the script or I have, it's a merge of me and AI, which is usually what I'll kind of do initially, unless it's something that I'm just like I talk about every day. I know exactly it's a more basic thing.
Yeah.
But if it's a little more in depth, or I can't figure out how to get my point across in 30 seconds, I'll have a script of some kind so that I can kind of just know that I have a baseline. But I've used the teleprompter app, which works really well, but I have a hard time feeling like I'm talking like myself.
Yeah.
It's like reading in front of people, where it's if I had it memorized, I would just spout it off, and
fly.
You have different
Sorry.
inflections here and stuff.
Yeah,
but
for
when I'm reading it, I'm like, okay, I'm trying not to stumble on my words, and I'm trying to make it not sound like I'm reading. You don't seem like you are, so it's impressive that
that's where AI
I
think can help too, is kind of structuring. I've been better about, as I learn more and more about it, is I will start throwing emails that I write into AI to say,
oh yeah,
this is what I sound like. This is what my comfort level with this email sounds like. Or I will do a script, or I will do something and I'll say, even if AI adjusts it, and I will adjust it myself and put it back to it and say, this is more what I'm like. Can you just remember that for next time? And so, so it's been a process, but then it's also, I think I'm less and less reliant on the script and more just kind of, winging it. So it does help with that. But I think obviously with time, you just get better about, you're almost like sometimes I feel like a newscaster or something like that. Like
it's breaking
like
news,
inflecting my voice, like for different things. So, but the more natural, I think the AI has made my talking, it's just kind of helped. And when it starts mimicking what you sound like if you were talking anyways.
Yeah. I think it's really helpful too, like for that first sentence or headline or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed I tend to do like, I will ask a question of like, what is mortgage insurance? Well, I'm going to tell you what mortgage insurance is, type of thing, right? Rather than, it tends to give me a good opening script, whether I use it or not. It's one of those that's more catchy. Like, here's how you can save $150 a month on your mortgage,
For
right?
sure.
And then you start breaking down how to get rid of mortgage insurance, as opposed to just like, hey, I'm going to share with you how you can get rid of mortgage insurance, because it's a little more boring. And if that first 5 seconds doesn't catch you because
like
you don't have mortgage insurance, you're like, I'm out. Right.
Yeah.
But if they're like, oh, I want to learn about this, and they listen for 10 seconds more, maybe you get a little more information out to them. So
For sure.
I feel like there's a lot of useful ways to use it, even if it's not just like, hey, write up a script of this whole topic and I'm just going to copy and paste it and use it.
Yeah.
Just like picking and choosing. It's been very helpful for me too.
Yeah, I think it's I've had an open mind about AI from 2025, well before that, but this year for sure. And I've found like more and more people that I talk to in the industry are like, wow, you're ahead of most, like especially title companies or lenders or things that are like, oh, you're doing way more than what I've heard other agents do. So I feel good about that. And this is not just a feel good story. We'll get into the negatives that we have got through in 2025 and the things we want to improve on. But now that we're talking about positives, I think that, you know, for me, AI has been a big help for my business and trying to stay as up to date as I can with AI in my industry, particularly has helped for 2026.
Yeah. Ooh, had a little teenage voice crack there.
I know. I like that. Did you see that fly? I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that fly is huge. That is like a bird flying through here. So
I can't see it, but I can hear its wings.
It's like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's not even like buzzing. It's like a flight.
Yeah. The pterodactyl in there.
Anything that you would say for 2025 that you kind of have like floundered on and been like, hey, I need to step it up?
That's where my list is.
Maybe we just pick one.
Yeah. I can tell you right off the bat what mine is, and it is making sure that I hit my number of phone calls per day.
Because you try to call every day, right? Like
I try to call every day.
A certain amount of people.
Yeah. My goal that I have this little worksheet that's not mine. It's just from the Core, which I'll give credit to them. It's a coaching program. It's been around for a long time. They have this form called the Greatness Tracker. And I'm sure that if any loan officers listening, they've probably seen it or heard of it.
Seen it, yeah.
But it just, it has 10 phone calls each day, right? And then it's got your meetings. It's just a way of tracking what your activity is per day. And so that's always one of my goals, is make sure I'm at least getting 10 phone calls in. And I will even be probably more generous to myself than if it was a coach or someone. I'll put it on there, 10 calls to anyone, right? Just the whole idea is I'm talking to people, whether it's like I'm calling my brother who I haven't talked to for a couple weeks. It's building my relationship with him. If I'm calling a past client, if I'm calling, whatever it is, it's just like you're talking to 10 people.
Yeah.
That's not, my kids or my wife or something like that, or coworkers. That's one that it's kind of one of those, like every week I go back and I look at it and I'm like, how did I not make my calls on this day or didn't get them all this week? It's really not that much to ask. The hard part is if you do have good conversations, it can turn into 10, 20, 30, an hour, depending on who it is that you're talking to.
Sure.
So sometimes it does kind of make it challenging, but in general, like it's not that hard. But that's one that I always kind of focus back on, because I know that makes such a huge impact of staying in front of people, talk points, touch and base, personal work, whatever it is. It's like the easiest way to re-engage with people, or let them know what you're doing, or just check in on them, or whatever it is. So for me, that's definitely my biggest want for improvement next year. Because if you're talking to 50 people a week and it's not the same people every day, it's, that's a lot of people to be talking to and re-engaging with. And then they're like, oh man, my cousin was thinking about buying a house. I completely forgot about you. I'll have to see if they want, I'll get them to reach out to you. And all because you just checked in, because I haven't talked to you for 2 years and I don't even know where you are anymore.
So you say that's not a big deal. 10 calls a day is a very big deal to me.
And it
insane.
It is, but it's also in my head. I'm thinking, okay, if I'm at the office from like 9 o'clock.
Yeah, if you look at the numbers, you're like, okay, that should be simple. But man, that's a lot.
It is.
Do you find any correlation or direct correlation between when you do drop off on your calls, do you see business affected, or when you do consistent with calls, do you see your business affected in the positive way?
I do.
Yeah.
100%. And that's why I
Really?
think it's more frustrating for me when I
Okay.
when I
Because you
go
see a
back and I
downside
look.
and you're like, I could have been calling and I wasn't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And a
Okay.
lot of times it's not like, oh, I didn't make any calls this week.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen. But I'm thinking, man, if I would have, I'm looking at my sheet there and it's like, how did I not make time for 3 more calls just to
Yeah.
finish out my list? Because it's like it's such a rewarding thing too to go, dude, I knocked out all my calls and
For
it's
sure.
2:00 and I feel like I've accomplished more today than I have on days where I feel really busy, but I haven't reached out to anyone. And sometimes I think that's where it gets hard, with any business. When you start to get busier,
Yeah.
those are the first
Those are
things
the
that
things
tend
that
to
drop
fall
off.
off because you're taking care of your business that's
The
right
very
there.
things that cause your business are the things we drop off first, oddly enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. So it's finding that balance of like, I don't know. Do you do any time blocking?
No. No.
Okay.
Do you
I
want
don't
to
either.
start going into my weaknesses?
Yes.
You
Yes.
just went right into it. Like,
Right. I wanted to talk to you about it because I was curious if you did, because I have tried it and tried it and tried it. And I ignore it.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was
So
just
what about
talking
you?
to Christina about it. Yeah, I think that one, time blocking is maybe a specific subject of my overall thing. I think I like to fly by the seat of my pants in a
Yeah.
lot of things. And
Uh-huh.
I've learned the hard way that in business, you can't fly by the seat of your pants in
Sure.
some things. Like,
Yes.
I'm a very idea oriented person and a very like, let's do this, let's try this, let's see what happens, let's go with whatever. So what I've seen in 2025, and in a good way in the fact that Christina's there, but in a bad way in the fact that she's exploited my weaknesses, is
Yes. You're just exposed.
she is a processor, a planner. She has a process for everything ranging from client gifts to pre-listing appointments to post-listing appointments, and I always was winging it, and I did good, but I saw the internal chaos that it caused inside. You don't notice it till you get it fixed, that you're like, wow, this is like a little peaceful, that I have like a plan, and that Christina built a process on this, or
Sure.
even the gifts, like the client gifts. I really focus on client gifts. I want to get great client gifts. I overthink about it, and it always was a super big stress, which is odd. Probably people are like, you're closing on a house, like why are you stressing about the gifts you're giving your clients? I just want to make that the final experience something that's really super special,
Absolutely.
and particular. And Christina put in a process of like, here's what we do. Here's like the core stuff we give. Here's things we can, based on the client personalities or their things they like to do or whatever it is, we can add to it. But here's kind of our core. And it just like eased so much tension for me on a closing that shouldn't have been there, if I would have just done this a long time ago. I think a weakness of mine, big time, always is, again, I fly by the seat of my pants and I don't plan it out. Which can be good when you're thinking of like ideas for business, ideas for marketing, ideas for clients in the future, ideas for this and that. And I'm always looking at like, what's the top trend or what's this? But man, the weakness for sure is planning. I need to get better at it. And even like that time blocking, I was just saying, when you get busy, we've been very busy and blessed that we have a lot of clients and a lot of business coming in. And I was telling Christina the other day, I was like, I have to time block, like, because the thing that got me the business is social. Like for me, primarily, I get a lot of my business from social media and I get it from referral clients. Social media is my primary advertising realm. That's what I do. It's what I enjoy doing. The podcast is what I enjoy doing. But when things get busy, it's like, hey, Cody, can we do this? No? Okay, no big deal. Move on.
Right.
And we've been good about, us in particular have been good about time blocking for our podcast and our live stream. However, as to social media, I can easily just get like, well, I just won't post that this week. It's not a big deal. I won't record that this week. It's not a big deal. I got this client. I've got stuff to do. And so I just was telling her, I was like, I got a time block. It sounds corny. It sounds very business like goals wise and very motivational speaker.
Yeah.
And which bugs me because I don't like planning. So it already makes me like cringe thinking about it. But it's so true. Like I need to be better about time blocking. Like saying, this is my time to do X and this is my time to do social media. And I think because of our consistency with the podcast, I have chosen like days that are like ours, like me and you. It's like a couple's date for us. And
Yes.
I'm just adding to that saying,
Time
okay, this
away
day,
from the kids and the
yeah.
chaos.
Well, and this might just be my social media day, that it's like I don't do anything else besides write scripts, find recordings, record videos, edit videos. Like it's just a day that I am like the tech, like I can do whatever. It's not planning, so it makes me feel better,
Right.
but I can just do my thing. So yeah, time blocking is something that I've been very weak at and very hopefully going to be better about in 2026. I just hope I can find a different term for it. It's something I need to see counseling for, I think, that just the very mention of some sort of planning or process like gives me anxiety.
It makes you cringe.
It makes me more anxious. Christina's
Yeah.
like, when I plan, I'm less anxious. When I'm like, you plan, it makes me anxious. It's just a weird.
Totally.
I don't know.
Dude, my wife and I are the same way, like complete opposites in that I'm not a planner. I've never really been, which I do think is great. Like you were talking about, I think it's great for ideas and implementing things.
Yes.
But staying
Following through with
consistent
them.
with it. Yes.
Like,
Staying
following through.
consistent
You
with
and I are
it.
like, hey, this is a great idea. How do you do it? I don't know.
Yes.
Like
Like we can
you plan it. Like
Yeah, and which I think is great, right? Because you're not overthinking like, okay, well, what all do I need to do here? If
For
I'm going
sure.
to do it, I need to do it right and do all this. We're
For
just kind of
sure.
like, all right, sure, let's try it out. I'll just
Yep.
buy a microphone and let's just see what
Yep.
happens.
Yep.
But the consistency part, I think the thing for me with time blocking that's hard, like I'm a list person. So I like write out my tasks for the day, which is a lot easier for me because then I can approach each task at what time of day I want to. Whereas the time blocking part for me is hard because
I see.
if I have my phone calls scheduled at 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock,
Yeah.
and I'm just not in the mood to call or
For
talk to
sure.
people, or I have something else
Or
going
something
on, then I'm
random
like,
comes up,
yeah, I'm like,
then your
okay,
block
well,
is done, and then
yes, sticking with it. But if I have it on my list, then I'm like, all right, well, I'll do this next thing here because I'm in
I'll
the
still
mood
do
to
it,
do
but
that.
it's just not going to
But
be right
yeah,
now.
I'm going to push my calls off until
For sure.
after I do these things. So it's
I like that. I have a really hard time sitting down, and maybe I have some undiagnosed thing. I have a hard time sitting down thinking about that list, like
Yeah.
making that list. I can think
Sure.
about it at 3 a.m. when I wake up and think about our business and think
Uh-huh.
about the things that I need to do. But when I'm
Yeah.
like sitting down, like, okay, let's wake up, let's work out, let's do this, and
Right.
let's make a journal of all the stuff we have to do. Like every person tells you to do to be successful. I freeze. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I got to do a recording. I gotta
Right.
I'm like a child
What's
again. I
today?
don't know, like a kid telling you to write a story that you don't know how to write.
Sure.
I'm just like, I don't know what to do today. I don't, it's really weird. But if I'm free
No,
flowing, I'm better about doing stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just really
Yeah.
weird.
No, I
I'm
feel you.
starting
And
to
I
see
think
how hard it is to be married to me.
this is
Like,
the therapy
As
session.
I'm even explaining myself, I'm like, this is difficult
Yes. It's
because there
tough,
is no
though.
rhyme or reason for what I'm doing. But yeah.
Right. Which is, I'm sure there's probably some way of like deep diving into it.
Oh,
does
yeah.
it change anything? Probably not, but at
Probably
least it
not.
gives you maybe a reason as to why. But I think that's the hard part is I tend to overthink things too. So I'm like, if I am making out my list, I usually just take whatever I didn't finish the day before and I put it on
Yeah.
my list for today. And then I add any other thing that might have come in. But then there's certain times where I'm like, gosh, yeah, like what? Okay, so I've only got a few things on my list today. What are things that I've been wanting to do that it put off that I didn't have the time for? And then I'm
Yeah.
like drawing a blank. And
Yeah.
so I think that's
No
where
idea. Yeah.
going back to my business plan basics, because the way we set ours up, it's really simple. But like one of them is just like a goals section. So it's like
Mhm.
work, kind of work related, monetary, and then personal goals. So you kind of have them, your own, whatever they are. But I think what I need to do in this next year is just constantly have, say I've got 4 work related goals of doing a first time homebuyers class monthly or quarterly, hitting my phone calls, doing whatever it might be. It's like, I should realistically just be having those on my list to do every day, because then even if I don't do it, I'm at least seeing it.
Yeah.
going,
It's
"Oh, that's
entering
right.
your mind
Okay.
somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's pretty smart. I think
Will I
that-
do it? I don't know.
I know. Well, I think that, this has been a good amount of time to chat. I don't want to bore people, but I think we'll get into a multi-part series here to kind of talk about not only some other things we have maybe screwed up on in 2025, but more positive going into Christmas and the holiday of kind of things that we're doing. Maybe it'll inspire people, or maybe it'll inspire each other to find, things that we should do or things that we want to do, like the first time homebuyer class, like to get things motivated to say, how can you improve on what you've already got going? So it's always incremental. And that's what I found is incremental change is truly what changes it. It's easy, especially being new, that you want to see the big change. And if the big change doesn't happen, you're like, for social media, for example, you just have an expectation. Everyone's like, oh, it's a year, 2 years on YouTube, that sort of stuff. You hear it, but you're like, no, I need results. I need the results. And what I've found is what we've been talking about, even these last quarter of 2025, is like, wow, I've been consistently doing social media and YouTube for a while now. And I'm finally seeing consistent people now. And that just takes time. The incremental change is like, take the little rewards, because eventually you'll look back and be like, okay, this is why I did it.
Yeah.
So anyways, we can talk about that in the future episodes, but
sure. Well, in 2 years, say that was your timeline, 2 years, right? And you're like, oh man, I don't have 2 years to do that. Well, now your 2 years is pushed back even more until you actually
actually finally do it. Yeah.
It's intimidating though. It's a long commitment.
And depending on the process you want, it sometimes takes that long. If you want the quick, you can cold call 200 people a day, and get business from it, but it's whether that's sustainable and whether you like to do it. So anyways, my man, this was good. So I think we'll just continue this conversation in the future episodes. I think we'll go at least one more before Christmas, maybe two, and we'll see if we can kind of get into our goals and what we want to do for January 2026. So stay tuned. If you want to hear, and if you guys want to hear any or give us any hints on what we should do better in 2026 or what you want to see or any of your goals, comment on whatever venue you're looking at for our podcast or listening to. So until next time, my man, we will chat with you soon.
Sounds like a plan. You have a good one.
See ya. Bye.
See ya.